I'll accept the other one.
Here. Hello, everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Hello and welcome to our Bookslosion, a Curse So Dark and Lonely live show. Sorry we're 4 minutes. Oh my gosh, shut up, phone. Sorry we're 4 minutes late. We had technical difficulties and had to do a new stream, but we've got it up now. Thanks for joining us. We're going to tweet out the link so y'all can find us at the new link here. So the first half an hour today, we're going to be talking about A Curse So Dark and Lonely. The second half an hour, we're going to be doing our end of the year superlatives. We're going to be ranking all the books we read with Bookslosion from best to least favorite. And we're going to be asking you what your favorites were. And we're going to do our favorite characters, our favorite ships, our favorite everything. It's going to be SMF, but we're going to start with A Curse So Dark and Lonely. We're working with Bloomsbury this month. Kat, how did you feel about A Curse So Dark and Lonely? Start us off.
I really enjoyed this book. I heard a lot of hype for it when it first came out, so I had high expectations, but then I saw some views from people who didn't love it. So I went into it with like medium expectations, and I ended up just enjoying it so much. I loved the characters. It was such a fast, fun read. It was everything I wanted from the premise, which for those of you who don't know what this book is about in our spoiler-free section here, it's basically a loose Beauty and the Beast retelling where we have this cursed prince in a fantasy world, and he's been repeating his 18th season. He's 18 years old, like the fall of his 18-year birthday, and he's been repeating that for like so many times, like over
327 times, I think it was.
Yeah, it was a lot of times.
It was like 70 years.
Yeah, it's a long time. But like time works differently in the castle area where he is. But basically he's been doing this thing over and over again where he finds a girl and tries to make her fall in love with him to break the curse. And we're following the 300 and whatever time he's doing it. The girl who he has kind of chosen, he has kind of ended up with, is a mortal girl from DC who gets swept into this fantasy world. And yeah, it was so much fun. I loved the main characters. I loved not just our two main characters that are narrators, but there's also a third major character named Gray, who might have been my favorite.
I love him.
And that's why I'm even more excited to read book 2, because I know it's more his story. Like we follow
his point of view.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. So yeah,
Good. That's what I wanted to do.
Huh?
Did I?
Oh, Jesse, you froze for a minute.
I was saying that I'm excited that there's a gray perspective in book 2 because I wanted that in this book.
Yeah,
so,
agreed.
Yes.
Jesse, share your thoughts. You're a little freezy over there.
Am I freezing really?
Yeah, you're lagging real bad.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, I'll share my thoughts while he's gone. I loved A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I requested a review copy of the audiobook, which is coming out January 7th, and it was so good because I was like scrambling before I left for Jersey, so I needed the audio so that I could, get through it in time. But then I ended up getting through it so fast because it was amazing. I just was so in it with Gray and Harper and Ren, and you just feel so much for all of them, and all the characters just feel very real. At least to me, they felt very real. And Zoe, I loved her, and her brother was so annoying. He was such a brother, he's such an older brother. And I love her brother's boyfriend, Noah, and it was just so good. And I'm already 60 pages into the sequel because I love it. I wish I had the audiobook so I could listen to it faster because I'm only being able to read it with my eyes at the end of the day.
Does the audio have 2 narrators or is it just
so
one?
It has 2 narrators, yeah. One for Ren and one for her. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Really, real good. And this has 4 points of views. So we actually also see from Gray's point of view and someone else that I won't spoil it because it's kind of fun to go into it and be like, ooh, cool.
I'm really excited to read it. I almost wanted to pick this up immediately after.
Yeah.
The way this ends, I'm like, gotta find out what's going on now.
Yeah, I mean, I did do that. It's really just so much fun, and I'm glad I had this ready to rock.
Right?
Jesse's having technical difficulties. This is such a bummer. People in the chat, who was your favorite character in A Curse So Dark and Lonely? I kind of shipped.
Is Jesse coming back?
Is he? There he is.
Oh, I think he's on his phone.
Oh god.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. I mean, you're still kind of frozen.
Yeah, but we can hear you.
Uh,
Oh,
No, we can't
Oh
hear him.
no. What happened to your internet? Oh gosh. What's happening over there?
Bad internet times. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Jesse, what did you think of the book?
I really liked it a lot. I was really surprised. I was nervous going in because Beauty and the Beast is not really like my favorite fairy tale when it comes to like Disney movies. I don't really know the original fairy tale that much, but I really liked what she did with this book. She took it in a really like unexpected way, and she just had like such a nice balance of both like a great plot and fantastic characters, and that's like what really won me over. I think is like the characters themselves. They were just like so great. I'm Team Gray. I'm all about it, and I'm excited to get his perspective in the next book. So
You know what I think is interesting about, like, I also agree that the characters were fantastic in this book. Like, that's what made it for me. And I think it's because Bridget Kemmerer, her previous novels are contemporaries. And so, like, those obviously focus a lot more on, like, characters and relationships. So I think that's why, like, I love the characters so much. And they did have almost, like, a contemporary feel to their relationship. But then we have the fantasy world and, like, the politics. Anytime we start getting into a political thing, I'm a big fan of that. So, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I don't know who I ship with her because Ren really grew on me, you know, like you kind of fall for him throughout the novel as like a human being. He's just like, he's a better guy than you thought he was.
yeah.
And you really feel how much he cares about like doing his job and doing right by his country. And I wonder, like, I'm really curious about how things are going to pan out in here. Because, you know, we start off with the epilogue where Gray isn't even with them, you know?
Spoilers.
Oh, did we not?
We are now entering spoilers.
I'm so sorry.
We're going to be talking about this book for 30 minutes, and then we're going to be doing some non-spoiler stuff. So if you have not read this book, leave for 30 minutes, and then come back and join us.
Yes. So... yeah, we leave off with him separate from them. So I'm curious as to like how long it's going to take for them to all reconnect, and like is there going to be a love triangle, or is it just going to be, you know, like Gray kind of having his own story along the side of their story? We'll see. But yeah, I ship them both with her. I mean, like, Gray, I can go either way. Like, if he decides he likes somebody else, I'm good. But Ren and her now, I feel like have been through a lot and have this bond because they've gone through this intense experience together.
Her and Gray also have a bond. Like,
I don't know.
But it's the fact that Gray's like away from them now, so now they're going to be bonding over that while he's away until he gets back to them, and now she's gonna...
Yeah.
Also, there's the complication of the spoiler reveal that they're brothers.
Yeah. Okay, this is very like reminding me of one of my favorite love triangles of all time.
What's mine?
The Will Jam Jessa. You know, they've got this brother bond.
I'm into that, and how like all three people like care for each other.
Yeah.
It's not jealousy. I mean, there's a little bit of jealousy, but it's not like a toxic jealousy where enemies over this girl kind of thing.
Yeah, I like go after her in the other one, you know.
Yeah.
But I actually really loved the love triangle dynamics in this. Like, I hesitate a little to call it a love triangle because, like, we don't really know how Gray feels. We don't know, like, if their relationship is more of a friendship bonding or more of a romantic situation.
Well, I feel like he kind of like restricted himself in that way. Like he didn't let him. but even their friendship was really nice.
Yeah, I was really into it. And especially like even halfway through this first book, I was like, I kind of ship both. Like I'm okay with whatever direction this goes in. Like I'm into both. So
yeah,
that a lot.
I'm excited to see what happens. And I really love the whole, not that this is a twist, but like it's a twist from the original Beauty and the Beast that like he's human for half the season and then he's a beast for the next half. So that it makes it really hard to kind of seal the deal because he's going to turn into this monstrous beast. And that was so heartbreaking. Like the scene where, you know, they're finally really starting to care for each other. I love that montage of time where like he would come to her room at night and just talk to her and she would just be there to protect him. And I love how she was the one protecting him from that bitch that his name is now just escaping. Lila. Her name's Lila. It was just really, again, like it flipped everything on its head a little bit. Like Harper was the hero and she saved Ren and in so many different ways.
There's so many like little ways that kind of expectations were subverted a little bit. Like, one thing that I really love, and I think I just saw someone mention this in the chat, was that she's not sure if she's in love with him at the end. And like, that's okay. Like you don't have to be like true love. We're totally in love now. Like they care about each other and they want to find out if this is going to be love. But it had like a nice little moral of like, love is something that you work at. It's not just something that like happens and then you break the curse, la la la.
Yeah, and like it makes her even more, I'm sure, because of like the pressure to be in that position.
Yeah.
So it was just all the dynamics were really fascinating, really well done. And let's talk about our favorite parts, y'all. Like I love the part with the archery in that other town.
That was good.
I thought that was so much fun. And then everything like goes to shit real quick, which is also very exciting. What about y'all?
I liked the moment, it's like a really small moment, but when Gray and Ren are like playing cards and they're just like talking, like just getting to know each other. I don't know. I just feel like that was like a good starting point for like their kind of relationship situation they've got going on. So I really liked that.
One of my favorite parts was at the end after he has turned into the beast, but like he still knows her, and then like she like is riding on his back into battle. Like that was very cool.
It was very Danny, like on her dragon. Yeah, I mean, like I was so sad, and like I was like tearing up when Gray had the ability to leave and take her with him, but he didn't. And then he went and talked to Ren, and Ren was like, leave. And they had their goodbyes, and it was devastating because they were so close, but he was already changing, and she like cut herself on his things, and he was so resigned to it. And Lilith was being such a bitch constantly. Like Lilith is a great villain in this book, and she just knows exactly what buttons to push in every way to manipulate everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Raffle when Harper slapped Ren and slammed the door in his face. I like that too.
Oh, you know, I also really loved when Gray returned to the human world to get her, but he was really injured because like after she made this, she told her brother the truth and like had him wait on the bench for her to like go back, and he's just like, okay, sure, Harper. And then when he finally showed up again, like that was such a triumphant moment. And when he takes her and her brother and his boyfriend back to the fantasy world, like I was not expecting that to see them in that world, but I loved that whole dynamic and element too. It was just good stuff.
Oh, as soon as he showed up for dinner, I was like, oh my God, they're all gonna go. Like, and it's really like now they're stuck there, which is a whole dynamic for them. And it's annoying, but like I love how real it feels that it's so annoying that her brother's like, no, we gotta leave. Like, stop doing your princess thing. What do you want us to do? Like, I'm bored. I don't like this. And her brother being like, you're not doing that, but she's totally coming to her own, and she's totally like taken this country by storm as the princess of DC. I love that twist in here too.
I love that moment too when she was like in the real world and she's like, I've got to get back home. Like she had already like claimed what's it called? What's the place called?
Emberfall.
Yeah,
Ember.
this moment, I love that.
And it's like it's a feeling that you don't really, I feel like, read a lot in books, where you realize that some other place is now you consider that home. And I think a lot of us, have that moment, during those like formative years where you're not living in your home anymore. And it was cool to see her experiencing that.
I loved her character arc and like the growth that she went through over the book, because like in the beginning, because of her cerebral palsy, like she's really underestimated especially by like her brother, and sort of everyone kind of underestimates her. But she proves to be like the one who saves Emberfall. Like her presence is what gets Ren out of his like slump, where he just doesn't even acknowledge the rest of the kingdom, and he's so focused on his own stuff. And like, even if they didn't break the curse and like there was no happy ending, like she still inspired change in him, and she inspired change in like the kingdom. And it was such a great arc that like she's the one who ended up saving everyone despite being so underestimated.
Oh yeah. I love how Ren deals with it too. He's just like constantly like, I don't know why you're saying this. Like, you've literally done everything and exceeded every expectation I've ever had for anybody. Not someone with cerebral palsy, like just a human being. Like, you are unstoppable. And that was really cool. Jesse, sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just saying, yeah, I agree. All the agreement over here.
How surprised were you guys to find that like Gray had magic in his blood, and that's one of the reasons why he survived? I was wondering, I was like, how the F
I know.
is he not dead after being stitched up and walking around? Like, what's happening? And then it all made so much sense. Like, why he could cross the veil so easily, why he's the one to do it, not Ren.
I mean, I suspected as soon as there was the mention of there was possibly a true heir, I was like, oh, it's gotta be Gray. Like, he's gotta be the true heir.
What does it mean, a true heir?
But I'm glad that we like got that reveal and acknowledgement at the end. Like, it wasn't anything that was dragged out, which is another thing I really liked about this book. Like, it didn't hold us in suspense with things for too long. Like, it was like on page 100 or something when Harper was like, oh, there's a curse. Am I supposed to fall in love with you or something?
Yeah.
And like, I love that we were just like acknowledging it and calling that out, and like,
Oh, I love that too.
Yeah.
making sure
It's
that
just like, I'm not stupid. That's what happens in fairy tales. But yeah, and it was like, it felt so real to us that when she was explaining to her brother, and he's like, okay, you're gonna go back to your fairy tale world. It's like, excuse me, this is real.
How dare you?
Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading the things. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I was kind of angry that Gray didn't make sure that Lilith was dead, but at the same time, Lilith was such a good bad character. I want to see her again. Well, the thing is, I was nervous because I didn't want him to get stuck on the other side. So I kind of think it was really smart of him to like immediately zap away, because or else he'd be stuck in our world, and he does not belong.
and she's not in a non-magical place now, so like she is vulnerable now. Like, maybe she will come back later in the series. Like, I do think that's a possibility, but I also think we have enough conflict going on with just like our political situation in Emberfall that like she might not come back.
Yeah, that queen, she's harsh, man.
Yeah, that was really, I really liked it. It was interesting though.
Yeah, she knows what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Lilith could potentially find their dad and bring him to?
I in the whole first half was like, her dad has to be an Emberfall somewhere.
I was kind of thinking that too. It's like a possibility.
Yeah, I just like, where is he gonna come into play? Because he left, he has to come in somehow.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see.
What if her dad is the king and her and him are brothers, and like that's why he left, because he actually belongs in Emberfall? He's a maidensmith, and it's all connected.
I mean, that'd be interesting,
And
but
then that's why she'll get together with Greg, because she'll be like, oh shit, we're brother and sister. Damn. What are the chances you picked me? We're halflings.
Oh man.
Juliet and Christina seriously considered that. Kiss, Mary, Kill, Ren, Harper, Gray. This is so hard. I'd probably marry Gray. Because I really like Gray. Ren is like, sometimes I like him, and then sometimes he's questionable, but overall he has a heart of gold. And Harper, Harper's cool too. It's a tough one. I don't know who to kill.
I don't either, gosh.
Gray is the only one to marry.
I mean, I think that's the answer. Marry Gray, kiss Ren, kill Harper. Sorry, Harper.
Yeah, I think I would do the same. Sorry, Harper.
All right, Harper. What is Gray going to do in the next books? He's going to make his way back to them.
I don't know, because he hasn't come back to them for a reason.
He's gotta come back to them.
But
He will eventually, but I don't think his mission is like return to them. Like now that he knows that he's the heir, I think
he's just to like live right now. I feel like.
Yeah, let him live.
But I hope he comes back to them sooner rather than later. I feel like she'll have to give us that. Like the way that she gives us stuff here, she doesn't make us wait too long. I feel like by page 100, he'd best be back to them. I'm on page 57, y'all.
How long is the sequel?
How long is it?
Yes. Well, I mean, how many pages?
Well, it's 443 pages.
Okay, solid sequel.
Yeah, it's about the same size.
I thought that I had spoiled myself on this because I looked up how many pages it was, and the last line is Gray is dead or something like that. I was like, oh no, I spoiled myself.
Oh, they were probably speculating that Gray is either dead or
Gray is dead, mother, and I was like, oh.
He said that to his mom.
Yeah, he said that as a.
Yeah, his name now is Hawk.
Wait, no
That's
spoiler.
not a spoiler. It's literally in the first sentence of his first chapter. He's like, I'm Hawk now.
Interesting. Wonder why.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Was Lilith a villain type character that anyone found repulsive, or was she a villain that you couldn't enjoy the story without? I think she's a villain that really added to this story because it really showed how tortured Ren has been. It's not just that he's a beast. It's she's literally comes and mentally abuses him.
Yeah, reminds him of all the people he's killed and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with both because I think she was repulsive, she was horrible. But there was also enough conflict going on that she wasn't the only driving source of conflict. And her presence definitely added tension and egged the situation on. But even with just the ticking clock and the political landscape, we still had plenty of other stuff going on, and I hated her so much. Just every time she showed up, I was just like, oh, this fish again.
Yeah, Willow Black just asked, did you ever sympathize with Lilith? And when we were learning about her for half a second, when they were everyone else died and she got all their power, I was like, oh, that's kind of sad. But then it was no, she made her way to Ren's. She was trying to gain more power by trying to marry Ren. That's not something that she had to do. She already was really powerful, and then she tried to kill him when he wouldn't.
He's been torturing him and sexually harassing him for 80 years or whatever. I don't have any sympathy for her.
Yeah,
I can understand her motivations, but no sympathy. She's awful.
Yeah.
Paul says hi.
Hi, Paul. Is there going to be a backstory for Lilith in the sequel?
I don't care.
So yeah, I don't care either.
Don't redeem her.
It's going to be more about the political thing with the heir and with the queen on the other side and all that stuff.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope Lilith is dead. Gray is pretty sure that he killed her. He knew that his knife struck true and then he pieced out. So I'm
I like am hesitant. I think she might be alive, but like on the other side because she has the magic in her, just like he was like near dying. I know. Like if we didn't see her dead body, she's definitely coming back. But hopefully she's on the other side.
I want her to be dead. I want her to be dead.
Let's see. Throughout the book, do you think Lila's character development was left open-ended for the sequel? I don't think it was open-ended. I think her death was open-ended, so she can still come home.
Definitely. I definitely think we're going to see her again for sure.
She reminded some Jaden of Loki. I could see that for sure. Loki seems nicer though.
It reminded me of the villain from Akatar.
Oh.
Ianthe?
What's her name?
Ianthe, something like that.
I was just like, Tamlin? Is that who you speak of? Okay, well, guys, I think it's unanimous. We all really enjoyed A Curse So Dark and Lonely.
Here's one question that I saw someone else mention too, so I want to clarify. Someone says that they were cursed for 82 years, like wouldn't almost a generation pass an Emberfall? But the time runs differently. So like
no, time runs differently, and I was figuring this out. Like, so every season was just a season. So it takes 4 seasons. But sometimes the seasons aren't a full season before your resets. So like sometimes the reset comes quicker. So I think like you can't really gauge.
Yeah, but either way, we know that like 5 years have passed in normal Emberfall, but there's like a time warp in like just the castle.
Yeah, in the castle curse.
Yeah, so like they're locked in a time, like time doesn't pass normally there, but like 5 years have passed on the outside.
Yeah. So should I read it? Yes, Mario. Good. It's a me. So yeah, loved the book, and now we're gonna go into our second half of our live show, which is superlatives. And so if any of y'all want us to do a certain like book related superlative, like worst character of the year, like favorite like ship or funniest or anybody like that, feel free to put it in and I'll try to like write them down so we can go through our lists, and we're going to get your superlatives as well. But let's kick it off with our ranking of all our Booksplosion reads of the year. Should I just like go down the line so people remember what we read this year?
Recap us January through December.
Yeah. Okay. So we're talking about superlatives in the Booksplosion books we read this year, guys. So sorry if you got confused and thought it was every book ever. We're narrowing this down to our Booksplosion reads. So in January, we read Aragon. In February, we read Two Can Keep a Secret. In March, we read Restore Me by Tahara Mafi. Cat's got them. I'll hear you. Okay. In April, we read To Best the Boys. In May, we read The Princess and the Fangirl. In June, we read The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare. In July, we read King of Scars by Lee Bardugo. In August, we read Looking for Alaska by John Green. In September, we read Frankly in Love. I was like, what comes next? In October, we read Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. In November, we read Cursed by Thomas Wheeler and Frank Miller, the illustrations. And then in December, we read A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmer. Very exciting, very good year of reading. Okay. Book that disappointed us the most.
Let's do our ranking first.
I know, I'm just writing them down.
All right.
Okay. Surprised us. Okay. So now, I think the first thing we want to do is do our ranking of what our favorite and least favorite books. So we'll go up from least favorite onward. And
wrong order.
Oh, you can just turn it upside down. And we'll go in like a clockwise circle of saying like, okay, our 12th favorite. So our least favorite and then go on. And you guys can play along with us in the chat if you read along.
Yes.
Okay, let's start with our least favorite Booksplosion book of the year here. What are all of your number 12s? Kat, go first.
Okay.
Jesse.
I am like, I didn't hate it or anything. It was just a lot going on, and it was hard for me to connect to any characters. And characters are the thing that are the most important to me. So that it was just a disconnect.
What about you, Jesse? And
First.
yeah, Cursed is my fault.
I felt it was a little wordy at times. I also had a disconnect with the characters. I could not find myself getting attached to them. And there was just so many things that I was confused by while reading it. So unfortunately, it's the last, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah, it just happens to be like the one we connected to least, I feel like. That's my 12 too, unfortunately. I'm excited for the show though, honestly. I'm gonna watch the show. Okay.
I think it's gonna make a better show than it made a book, just because we follow so many characters and like such an epic plot that like it's hard to narrow in on that.
Yeah, y'all in the chat, what was your least favorite of our books this year? Someone said Looking for Alaska a little earlier. That was your least favorite? That's crazy. Okay. Let's do our number 11. There's our 11th book on our least, I guess our second least favorite. Kat.
Me first again? Okay.
Fine.
Someone else goes
Wanna go first? We'll rotate.
My second least favorite was Aragon.
Oh.
Yeah, I just didn't love it as much as I was expecting to. I guess I went into it with like really high hopes because everybody's like, oh, it's so good. It's the best thing ever. But I just didn't love it as much as I had hoped. So it's unfortunate, but.
Okay. My second least favorite was also Aragon. I think again, like everyone loves Aragon. And we had such high expectations. And I think there's a nostalgia factor to reading it when you're a kid as compared to now. And it wasn't bad. Like I enjoyed it, but it wasn't in love with it.
Yeah.
No, I completely understand the nostalgia factor. And I would definitely recommend this to younger readers as like a good intro to epic fantasy, high fantasy books. But reading this at my age, after all the, like, it was just so familiar, so many tropes that like if I had read this for the first time when that stuff was new, I would have loved it. But reading it at my very old age, I was just like, I've seen this before.
Okay, number 10, working our way up the list.
Are we gonna have different answers this time?
Yeah, I think we'll finally start differing here. We got to start differing. Okay, my number 10 is Restore Me by Tahira Mafi, which was just like, it just felt like half of a book to me. It wasn't full. It like stopped in the middle. And that always like makes me so mad. I'm just like, can it just be two? Get one big book, please, so we get a full arc. What about you, Kat?
So maybe we're not differing after all.
It's mine too. Literally.
The thing is, I enjoyed this when I was reading it, but as time has passed, I'm just starting to question if I've lost interest in the series over time. So the next book came out, and I haven't even tried reading that one yet. But like, I love the original Shatter Me series. So I still like the writing and the characters a lot. I just, time has passed. I'm not as into it as I once was.
Yeah. I feel like for me, this just like felt like a bridge book, and it's never good when a sequel feels like a bridge book into like, the rest of the series. So
Yeah.
I have to like read the rest to know how I feel about this one, really, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I feel like I have to rearrange because I forgot one and I just placed it at 9. Let me switch it with this one.
I go first.
You go first. Oh wait, no. Did I go first on that one?
Yeah, you did.
Pat's turn to go first.
It's my turn to go first.
Number 9.
Okay, maybe we'll differ this time.
Okay.
My number 9 is Two Can Keep a Secret.
Whoa.
by Karen M. McManus. Not because I didn't like this. I just think that I'm not the biggest thriller fan. Like, again, I really like characters that I can connect to and like leave an emotional impact with me. And this book was like, it was exactly what I wanted from a thriller. Like, it was engaging, fast-paced, surprising. The twist ending really surprised me. But I want romance and like cute shippy moments more than I want a killer on the loose.
Yeah. Jesse, what is your number 9? Oh my gosh, the suspense. Oh, all yours. Wow.
For me, I really enjoyed this book. Like, I thought it was a lot of fun, but I needed like more of a punch with it. Like, I was shocked, but it was just like, it was so fast. It was like, okay, that's it. It was like, can we get a little bit more? But yeah, I still really enjoyed it though. It was a good time. So
nice. Okay, so you guys have the same number 9, but I don't have the same number 9. Jesse, can you guys hold mine? So like, I feel like I don't have a book to hold. Okay, my number 9 is To Best the Boys. Thanks, guys. Like, so empty. And it's not that I didn't like this book. Again, it was that I felt kind of like what Jesse said about Two Can Keep a Secret. I felt like it went really fast and didn't pack as much of a punch toward the end that I thought it was going to. Like, I had higher expectations for like more of a crescendo, and it kind of just ended for me, and I enjoyed it, but it didn't have like that intense like build. Yeah, that's my 9. Okay. 8, Jesse, I think you go first for 8.
I'm questioning if this is actually my 8 or not.
I know. I was questioning my 7, 8, 9 order.
Okay. King of Scars, number 8.
Oh.
See, I really love this book, but there were also things about it that I'm like, what's going on here? And I didn't really love the ending of it. That's what I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit taken aback by it, and I was like, is this necessary? I don't think so. But yeah, I still really enjoyed it though. Like, it's Lee Bardugo book. So it's like excellently written, great characters, all that jazz.
Okay. My number 8 is The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare. And again, like, I enjoyed this book, but it was missing the sense of urgency that I usually have with a Cassie book. And it's because like it takes place in the past, and I was like, everything's gonna be fine because I know it was fine. Like, I already read ahead. And while I really enjoyed like the character development we get to see, like the relationship development basically that we get to see with Alec and Magnus, that's really nice. And we get some like little Easter eggs with different side characters that we didn't see before. I just like couldn't like be as excited while I was reading it because I knew what happens after it. Like, I wish it was released in between books or something. But yeah, no, it was still really fun and really like well written and great. It just like didn't have the urgency.
Yeah. My number 8 is To Best the Boys. But yeah, what Christine said when she just had this for her book, I really enjoyed it. It's a great standalone. Yeah, it's just it's number 8.
What about you, Jesse?
Where do you went?
Oh, fork. I lost start counterclockwise in this.
Is it my turn?
Is it my turn to go first? Okay. 7?
Yes.
Okay. My number 7 is King of Scars by Lee Bardugo. And I enjoyed it. It just like wasn't the book that I was expecting it to be from the way it was marketed. So, and like Jesse said, the end kind of felt like, wait, huh? Like it just didn't feel like it came to the end of the book. And I know there's going to be a second one, and I'll read it and listen to the audiobook. And yeah, again, like we're coming to the point around now, like now we're just ordering our favorites. So it's like our 7th least favorite. Yeah, Kat.
Red Scrolls of Magic.
Oh, nice. We were just like switched around a little bit.
And yeah, just because I would have loved this if it came out like when it was chronologically time for it to come out in like the book timeline. Like if this came out after book 3 of The Mortal Instruments, I would have loved it. But we do lose a lot of tension because like we already know the outcome of like so many of these characters. So it's fun to like see them in this moment, and it's fun to like revisit some characters that we haven't seen in a while. But yeah, for a Cassie book, I was expecting to love it a lot more.
Justin.
Two best. I had a lot of fun with this book. I was actually like really surprised with it because it kind of went in a direction that I wasn't expecting, and I really liked how she like fleshed out all the characters and stuff. My one gripe with it is that I wish we would have spent more time in the maze. Like it felt like we didn't
Same.
as much time in the maze as like we should have, because it felt like it was sold as like a maze book, and it was like the first chunk we're out of the maze, then we're in the maze for like a little chunk, and then we're out of it again, you know? So it's like I just wanted more of the maze, but it was great.
Nice. Okay, top 6, you guys. Okay, so this is our top half of Bookslosion books for this year. And whose turn is it to kick us off? Kat?
Me?
Yeah. Okay.
King of Scars. I enjoyed it. I love Nikolai. I love Nina. Like I love all the characters. But some things happened that made me go, huh? Obviously, I'm definitely going to read the next book. Like I love everything Grisha, so still very excited for more in this world. This just wasn't my fave, but I still really enjoyed it. That's why it's in the middle for me.
Yeah. I feel like our top like 4 or 5 are gonna
have the same book.
Okay, Jesse, what's your number 6?
6 is Looking for Alaska by John.
Ooh.
Yeah. I really liked it.
Yeah,
I really loved it, but I just like had such a different experience with it reading it now compared to like when I originally read it in high school. I just like looked at it in such a different way. Mostly I just feel like they made a lot of really stupid decisions in this book, and I'm just like, what are you doing, you crazy kids?
Oh, they're kids.
I know, that's the thing, they're kids, and I just like had to get my mindset back into that. But yeah, Looking for Alaska, that's all.
That's my number 6 too. And so this was my second time reading Looking for Alaska in 2 years. So I had read it for the first time last year and read it this year, and I liked it better the second time around. I think that's just like letting it sit with like their flaws, you know, and letting them be youths. So number 5, our top 5.
Top 5.
Well, will they be the same, guys? Jesse, your turn to go first.
The Red Scrolls of Magic!
Oh, man, I again.
I had a really fun time with this. Like, it felt like a rom-com almost. There was like fighting and stuff. It was like nice to have Alec and Magnus have some nice moments, even though they were interrupted a lot of the times. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a good time.
Remember when Tessa interrupted them? That was brilliant.
Yes, so good.
I've wanted.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, is it my turn? Okay. My number 5 is The Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston. Yeah. Oh, you know what? It's going to be mixed up because you guys didn't have to keep a secret at all in your top section. So yeah, this is my 5. Really enjoyed it. It was really fun. It just didn't strike as many chords with me. I just didn't feel as deeply connected to it, I think, than the first one, which is Cinderella. What is it called?
Geekerella.
Geekerella.
Okay, my number 5 is Looking for Alaska.
Baby.
It's tiny. I hate this book.
Not
Looking for Alaska. I don't hate Looking for Alaska. I'm not a fan of this little tiny flip book format. But yeah, Looking for Alaska, really enjoyed it. I liked rereading it after, you know, I think the first time I read it must have been like 10 years ago or something like that. So yeah, I really liked rereading it, but upon reread, it did get bumped down a little bit lower on my like favorite John Green book list. Because like I used to have like a much higher place on my list. But rereading it, I was like, actually, his more recent books I like more. So yeah, I still really enjoyed it.
Cool. Jesse, did you go?
Yeah, it's your turn to go first.
Okay, number 4. At number 4, I have Two Can Keep a Secret. I had so much fun with this book. I wish there was a little more at the end, like a little more punchiness, because I think it was kind of similar to the way I felt about the end of One of Us is Lying. Like, I was like, oh, but this one I was more like, oh. But both of them I predicted. So hopefully the third one is like, but I enjoyed everything leading up to it.
Is it my turn?
Yes, Kat.
Okay, not number 4.
Oh shit, that's what I meant by number 4.
Okay, so my top 4 ranking was difficult, but at number 4 I have The Princess and the Fangirl.
Nice.
Really enjoyed this. Really cute, really fun. Like Christine, I didn't love it quite as much as Geekerella, but I think the main reason for that is that in Geekerella, we follow 2 main characters, and it's their relationship that's central to the story. And in this, we follow 2 main characters who each have their own separate romantic interests. So it was just like a lot more going on and like harder to narrow in on like one relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But I read, like, this was our May book of the month? I read this in February as soon as the arc showed up, because I love this world and these characters and what Ashley does with these, like, fangirl convention fairy tale retellings. So, yeah, really enjoyed this one. Jessie?
See?
The Princess and the Fangirl. These books are just so good. I'm super excited for the 3rd book that's coming out. I just love the fandom culture in it, the nerdy vibes. I'm all about it. I will say that this one felt a little bit more rushed than Geekerella, even though I feel like they're the same like timeline.
No, I think it's because she was, like Kat was saying, like we had to develop 2 romances separately, and so
Princess and Fangirl takes place over like 3 days, and Geekerella we do have more time because it's like before the convention. Yeah, this takes place entirely at the convention, so like it's
right. But I definitely highly recommend checking out this series. It's great.
And just someone asked if Two Can Keep a Secret is a sequel. It's not. It's a completely different book, just so you know. Okay, top 3 now. Will these be the same? Because none of us have mentioned any of these top 3s yet, so they're gonna be.
So we agree on the top 3. But
yes.
Not necessarily the order, but let's find out.
Kat, is it your turn to go first? I think for your number 3.
I think it is my turn to go first. Okay, this is hard. I'm even second guessing what I have written down right now, but I'm gonna say, oh wait, am I gonna change my mind right now? Frankly in Love.
Oh my gosh.
I almost just grabbed a different book though. So, it's all very close. But yeah, Frankly in Love was great. Like, fantastic, everything I wanted out of it. Like, yeah, good stuff.
Yes, solid.
Jesse, what's your number 3?
Where am I gonna go? Where's the? Let me see. A Curse So Dark and Lonely coming in.
Oh shit, we're gonna all have different ones.
It was so good. We just did a live show talking about it, so I'm not gonna talk about it.
Okay, my number 3 is Fountains of Silence by Rudis and Petty, which I absolutely adored, and it just was very hard to order, and it was number 3. Kat. Oh, Kat.
Number 3, so
What
2.
was your number 2?
The Fountains of Silence by Rudis and Petty.
Wow!
Just so good. Just such a solid second on my list. You can't go wrong with Ruda. That's all I'm gonna say.
You can't. You totally can't. My number 2 is A Curse So Dark and Lonely. We talked about I love it so much. I'm already reading the second one, which never happens to me nowadays because I feel so much pressure to read something new. But I love these characters. And that's what makes me like a book. The freaking characters. They're amazing. Cat 2.
Number 2 is Fountains of Silence. It was just beautifully written. Like, it was just very engaging, like super fast paced for a long historical. And the reason why I chose at the last moment to switch Frankly in Love and Fountains is because this made me cry at the end. Like there was some relationship moments that like really got me in my feels, and so that like bumped it just a smidge higher than Frankly in Love. But yeah, so all of them were good.
Dang, I forgot about those relationship moments.
Yeah, there's that one relationship moment. I was like, oh yeah, no, that's exactly my favorite kind of thing in a book.
That's my favorite kind of thing too. I can't believe I forgot about that, and I didn't put it in my. I put it in.
Cries.
Hey, Christy, what's your number 1?
My number 1. Oh shit! My number 1 is Frankly in Love by David Yoon. I was in love with this book from like the first page. I read it with my eyes super quickly. It was grand, and I'm just really, really glad that it was our one of the books of the month this year. It was very, very, very good.
Guess what? It's my number 1 too.
Oh,
Oh, it was your turn? Sorry.
Kat, what is your favorite one?
Debut. It was so good. Like, his writing style is just fantastic, and it makes me want more books from him, like now.
Yeah, the voice was especially good. My number 1, A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I do think that part of this is because I just read this, and so it's freshest in my brain, and like my love for it is the freshest. But I just really, really enjoyed this. Like I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected to. I loved the characters. I flew through it. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Kat, tell us what your favorite book of the Bookslosion book of the year was. Per favore. Does everyone agree with our top 3? And what was your number 1? You Can Keep a Secret, Frankly in Love.
Also, I'm curious how many Booksplosion books you read this year.
Oh yeah, that's a good poll. I wish we could do polls. 1, 2, 3, or more than 3. I feel like Curse of Fountains of Silence or Curse So Dark and Lonely or Two Can Keep a Secret. What?
Sean Elizabeth read 8 books.
Oh, nice. Thanks for joining us for 8, Sean Elizabeth. We appreciate that a lot. Thanks for joining us for like any of them. We like always appreciate it, but especially appreciate it when you guys consistently come. It's really, really nice.
Yes.
Oh, thank you all, B252. I hope you join us every month and we see you in the chat and get to talk to you. It would be great. Oh, Dylan read 9. Thank you, Dylan.
Nice.
And Megan read 4. Oh, Willow read 6. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is so cool. Thanks, guys. That's so nice. We love reading with you guys. So I'm glad you've been consistently here. Let's do a fun one for like this. We lasted so long just doing our countdown.
I know.
Like our favorite
I
ship.
feel like we normally don't go into detail as to why we like them.
Yeah, we just like go down the line. Did you guys have a favorite ship of the year?
Ooh.
I'm blanking on their names.
Oh my gosh, yes, Anna.
And
Anna and Will?
Daniel.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love them too.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Ellery and Malcolm, that was from Two Can Keep a Secret. They were good too.
It's kind of spoiler to say who I liked in this, but
I can't remember their names at all.
I liked both couples. I'll just say that.
I
Yeah.
like both couples too. I really loved, although I love the love triangle and Curse So Dark and Lonely. Like, I'm shipping everyone with everyone, and I just love them together as a trio.
I agree. It's been a while since I found a love triangle that I was like really into. So it was like almost surprising because I was like, when was the last time I read a YA with a love triangle?
Honestly, it's been so long since I read a love triangle. I miss them. I love love triangles, especially when they're done as excellently as this one.
I don't want to say because spoilery, but do you guys remember who we shipped Nikolai with?
Oh, I mean, yeah, but they didn't. Wait, the ones that didn't interact or the ones that did?
Did they interact?
No, they didn't. Are you talking about that?
What? Yeah. What ship are you talking about?
Well, I can't say it because it's kind of spoilery. I feel like.
Well, I ship a ship that doesn't interact in that book.
No, they
I ship
didn't.
a ship that interacted in
I
that
shipped
book.
that ship too, but I shipped a ship before I started the book, and
You shipped the other one based on rumors and assumptions.
yes, and I still really want to see them interact.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see that too.
What the fork are they talking about? They're just like shipping ships of ships of ships.
Do we have a favorite character? A standout character?
Oh, that's so hard.
I loved Frankly from Frankly in Love.
I was just thinking that too.
Such a great character.
Frank.
I love Anna and Daniel too in general.
Also, because I have the memory of a goldfish, and I also want to talk about A Curse So Dark and Lonely again. But Gray, all those characters were so good, and I love Gray so much.
Yes, and I also love obviously Magnus.
Yes, true.
He's one of my favorite characters of all time, and it's hard because like that book just was like not my favorite Cassie book, so I'm just like not even considering it. But like he's there and a main character, and I love him so much. If you ship a ship, what ship would you ship? Yeah. Yeah. It's been a really nice year, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. What are we reading in January 2020? Jesse, Kat, we both have it. I don't.
Reverie by Ryan LaSala. This is a debut novel that just came out at the beginning of December. It is our January pick of the month. It's also the January Barnes & Noble YA Book Club pick of the month. So I think should be a special Barnes & Noble edition of this as well. I'm really excited for this. It plays around with like reality and dreams and is like really genre bending, and it sounds awesome. So
very exciting. Hopefully you guys join us, pick up Reverie. Let's read it together in January.
We'll also be having another episode of Dear Bookslosion in the month of January,
where we're talking about our goals for the new year, right? Yeah. And other things.
Yeah.
And just to remind you, A Heart So Fierce and Broken comes out January 7th. And the audiobook for A Curse So Dark and Lonely and A Heart So Fierce and Broken also out on January 7th. So you can hit them up if you want the audiobook. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We love reading with you every month. Please continue to do so. And we're going to be doing Dear Bookslosion every month next year too. So it's going to be grand.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out. And I hope you have happy holidays and happy new year.
Bye.
I'll do